I mean, if you're Trump, you have to think they will do literally anything to stop him. And they're smart people and they have huge resources. So I would worry about the late October, early November surprise.
Do you think the last election was stolen?
I think the last election was totally rigged.
Was it stolen?
Totally, totally rigged.
Was
It
it
was rigged.
stolen?
It was rigged
You
when they
said
cut off the New
you,
York Post. It
yeah,
was
no,
rigged when the intelligence officers said, okay,
but
you
you said
prefer,
no.
I use
There's
the
a
word
difference.
stolen because do I believe it's possible for big city machines to steal votes? Do I believe it's possible for people, as they did in Minnesota one year, to suddenly find an entire box full of ballots in the trunk of a car after the election? Sure,
Did
of course I did.
did big cities steal votes to help Biden win in 20?
I don't know. I'm look. I'm telling
Is there evidence? Is I'm
you, my
just
personal
there's a
gut feel.
difference between 51 intelligence officers and Silicon
Lie,
Valley. There's a
lie.
different there's a difference
Okay,
between
that's
those
why I use
things
the word rigged.
about which, well, that's rigged. But you said one of your worries about this election was that it would be stolen. And there's
Look,
no evidence that I
we
know
were.
of that, like,
Well, look, Mark, you and I are just going to disagree. I've been in this business longer than you have. I
you
actually
have.
directly dealt with people who stole elections, and I watched them do it.
Tell me the
So I'm just
last
telling you,
election.
when we
Tell me
were
the
in the
last
White House,
presidential election that was stolen.
when we were in the White House, and everything was going great, and suddenly about 11 o'clock at night, state after state stopped counting. From that moment on, I assumed it was rigged. I assumed the answer was Trump ain't gonna win. Now, you may be correct, and maybe in places where judges, by the way, didn't rule against the substance, they ruled against the procedure.
But
And
that's not
over
always
and
true.
over again.
That's I don't believe you contribute to having confidence in this election if you conflate
I don't have,
Silicon Valley and 51 intelligence officers with evidence-free allegations that the election was stolen by big cities.
look, when the Justice Department interferes in Virginia in order to stop them from making sure that no illegals vote, and we can go through a whole list of things that are going on right now. You and I just disagree, and I don't think it's because I'm paranoid. It's because I have a lifetime of experience watching the Democratic machine in close races, including, for example, stealing Indiana 9th in 1984, literally stealing it. It wasn't close. So my view is, you asked me what I would worry about. What I would worry about is whether or not, in desperation, at the last minute, because they have nothing left, they are prepared to do that. And I hope they're not. But I look at Detroit, I look at Philadelphia, I look at Phoenix. It strikes me that and I look at the number of people who have been registered without photo ID and in many cases without citizenship. All those things worry me. You asked me what I worried about. I mean, you
I
don't
understand.
agree with me.
I'm happy to have you put it on the list. I just don't want to conflate a lot of the things you listed, including potentially stealing a House race, with the notion. I mean, I think the words are pretty clear in their meaning. The
Wasn't
difference between
potentially, Mark, there.
the
It
difference
wasn't potentially, it was theft.
the difference between stealing election and an improper doing improper things, which you've listed some of which you and I agree on a lot of things. 51
Right.
intelligence officers, Silicon Valley. That's different than saying there's bosses in Philadelphia who say, how many votes do we need? And let's get them. I don't begrudge you being suspicious of that. I just want to make clear that in 2020, there's no evidence that that thing happened. That's the only point I was making.
I don't want to relitigate 2020, but I would tell you that anybody who is not worried about people without any vote, any ID, people who may well not be American citizens, the whole range of things going on, the Justice Department filing suits to block states from cleaning up their rolls. You may not think any of that's suspicious. As a Republican, having dealt with the Democratic Party my entire career, and by the way, Indiana was stolen. It wasn't supposedly stolen. It was stolen, and Leon Panetta did it. I was there. It was the first great breakthrough in the Republicans deciding I had to be their leader because they were so enraged by the way it was done. So I'm just saying, if I don't think it will happen. I think Trump will win by too big a margin. But if we were down to the last 500 votes, I'd be really worried.
The only reason I used the language I did in Indiana is because I'm familiar with the case, but I don't know the facts. So I didn't want to assume you were right.